My name is Eric, and I am originally from Boston, grew up in San Diego, and I've lived in the Bay Area for 20 years. And I got involved in the music business when I was in college, working for TKO Records, a street punk label at the time, and followed my passion. And the passion brought me to the Bay Area first of all, and then being able to be involved in the music scene was what really kept me here. So I started Pirates Press in 2004. And here we are now in 2016, 12 years later, pressing up thousands and thousands of records a month. At the beginning, it was really small. We were running the company out of a basement. And now here in this awesome space, we're able to really elevate it, and it kind of reflects where we are as a company. At the time, it was really a means to get by and a passion. But now we've really turned it into something that can provide a future for a lot of people, and we're really proud of that. I was a child of the early 80s, so all of my kids' music was on vinyl. And I had a Fisher-Price record player virtually from day one. And all of my kids' records, all my Rafi records, and those kind of artists, I still have the vinyl from it. And one of the earliest records that I remember getting personally, besides baby music, was actually a happy birthday card that came with a flexi record of Cosmo the Spaceman singing me happy birthday or whatever. If you don't have older brothers and sisters handing you down music and records and things like that, you kind of need influences in order to have a broad array of understanding of what there is to offer in music. And Ramones and Clash and Coxbar were the obvious first holy trilogy of punk for me, and the records that I initially started collecting the most. So now running a record label and being able to work with some of those people and in that style of music really makes it all kind of come full circle. Actual metal, hand spot welded by a blacksmith in the Czech Republic. The metalheads especially have some crazy ideas that sometimes we haven't been able to pull off, like people wanting to send pig's blood or cow's blood to be pressed into the records, or safety pins or razor blades, or whatever. I mean, usually we'll try and at least do certain things, but some things we just have to respectfully decline to do. I've actually taken one of our late friends. I took his ashes to the factory in the Czech Republic and pressed his ashes into a record that we put out on our label. And that was probably one of the most special records that we've ever done as a label for lots of different reasons. But the experience itself was something that was pretty eye-opening for people at the factory too, because they're just used to making a product and sometimes get detached from where that product is going. And that's something that we've always focused on, is being connected with the people at the factory and having them understand who we are and who our customers are and who the market is, because those products it's not just a clothes hanger that's gonna go in somebody's closet. It's something that people are really passionate about. And when they saw me pressing a record with somebody's ashes in it, they understood that vinyl had made such an impact in this person's life and is so meaningful to us that taking it that next crazy step was something that kind of was eye-opening for them. And they're not going to do it again. They're not going to do it for other people, but they did it for us as a favor, and we were physically involved in making those records, and that's why it was so special.
Can you maybe go back to your trip over there? And it sounds like it was a bit personal interest, but also business on the side too. Was there an excitement, or was there maybe kind of personally what you were kind of, as you're going over there, kind of feeling at that time?
Yeah, definitely. I went over with two of the other pirates and some other friends, and initially there was a talk of a discussion about putting out a record, but that wasn't the primary focus of our trip. We were really excited to go to Germany. I'd never been there before, so it was a first for me to go to an international punk festival and see tons and tons of bands playing in a city that I'd never been to and a scene that I've never seen before. And it was one of those times when people from all over Europe came there for that festival, and so I got a really good impression of how strong the European punk scene was. And the show itself that Spara played was in front of 7,000 people in an airplane hangar in the middle of winter. And it was just a really special show all around. And getting to actually hang out with the band and spend a significant amount of time with the band was something that was in some ways shocking to us. In other ways, it was what I kind of expected after having spent a weekend with them 10 years earlier, I knew that they were casual people and nice people and people you can have a conversation with. So I knew that there would be that element, but we ended up coming back to the hotel bar after the gig and staying up all night, all the way until they brought us breakfast in the morning, you know, singing songs and just chatting and drinking beers and just ultimately having a crazy party with these people who I'd always considered, like, in many ways, like punk rock heroes. And, you know, part of what came out of that meeting was pressing Here We Stand and then pressing other records for them. But also out of that party, I actually met my wife, who is now the mother of my child. So the trip really holds some serious significance with us. So we came back from the trip and decided that we would reissue the record but change the artwork so that we had a unique version. And when we came back, the folks who weren't on the trip with us, being able to tell them that we were going to release Coxbar's record was something amazing. And even if they aren't fully into street punk, most people who at least know about that band know how important they are as a band, and even just friends of ours know how important they are as a band to us. So it was a really proud moment, and putting out that record was very much a tipping point for the label because it was the first like big band that we actually got to work with. And for us, it opened a lot of doors, not only to work with them on future projects, but it opened doors for other bands to then be on the same label as Spar. Pirates Press is definitely a self-sustaining entity. Whether I was there or not, it's definitely something that's going to continue. The business, the brand, what we're doing is something that's bigger than any individual here, and something that undoubtedly will carry on. If my daughter wants to take it on, then that's fine. I mean, when she was born, I sent an email around to everybody introducing them to their new boss. So it would be great. I mean, her initials are RPM, so it makes sense. But if that's not her passion, if she wants to follow another route, that's totally her prerogative, and I'd never pressure her into that. But there's going to be a lot of people here who are starting families and who have already started families where if their kids want to get involved, there's definitely an opportunity for that already. We have 13-year-old kids coming in to volunteer, you know, during their summer vacations to pack mail orders and things like that. And everybody really wants to be involved. And in my opinion, getting kids involved in vinyl is the future of vinyl. And when you see kids nowadays getting Christmas presents of turntables or records, that's really a sign that this is going to be a sustainable thing. And you know, lots of companies in vinyl will come and go over the next 20 or 30 years, but we're one that's going to stick around. Our factory has said flat out that they're going to be the last man standing when it comes to vinyl. I'm Eric from Pirates Press, and you've been watching Phonographic Memory. Thanks.